All right, welcome you guys. I'm not in my normal background today. I just didn't have it set up, so please forgive me. So this is, I think, our 6th or 7th week for the Triathlon Finish Line program. And guess what? There's a race on Sunday. Yay! So we got a handful of us racing, so I'm super excited. Actually, like 10 people, so we're super excited. But I just wanted to review the importance of a race plan, just because it really, I've had athletes tell me, oh my, I never did this before, and it just made the race day seem so much better by having this map, right? This is basically a map of your 24 hours, like the day before the race, all the way through the race, and just details about what you might forget if you weren't really thinking about it, so that you can just have the best result possible, right? So if you forget your shoes and stuff like that, it's just one of those inconveniences, and this kind of helps you dial it all in to make sure you're ready, okay? So basically, I like to have people use their notes in the phone and just type it out, like take 30 minutes really today and write it out. Typically, I actually like to have you do this on the Monday before the race, so you have all week to visualize the race exactly how you want it to go. So mental skills are huge here, okay? So especially if it's your first race, like most of you guys in this program, or you're looking to get better, if you don't believe you can do it, and if you don't see it in your mind, you're gonna have a little more anxiety going into race day than if you believe you're ready, right? So you've done the work, right, Monica? You've been training, you've done the work. We've already done the distances. For sprint race, that's why I love sprint racing, because you can do the distance of your race and feel confident that you can put it all together on race day. So the Monday before the race, you're just basically gonna type out everything you're gonna do from Saturday morning. I'm gonna use an example that Sunday's the race day. So, writing everything out as if you're gonna, exactly how you're gonna do it. And of course, things might change, but at least you have a general outline of how it's gonna go, so you can have a process, okay? So Saturday morning, on Monday morning, the week before the race, I recommend using this TriCalc3 app. This is just a little picture of it. But the app actually, you plug in the distances of your race, because sprint distance races are different, different length swims. This one's a 400-meter swim. It's a 12.5 mile bike, and then a 5K. So you want to plug in those times, and then down here at the bottom, which you can't see, it's like it says 1:22. That's the race time for the information that I plugged in. And now I know I need to be prepared to be racing for at least an hour and 20 minutes, right? If I didn't put that together or take the time to add everything up, you kind of just like an unknown, right? And the cool thing about, I love the TriCalc3, because you can save these, and then of course you have your race results every race, and then you can go back in for the next race and say, okay, well, what if I rode 1 mile per hour faster? How much time would that give me reduction on my race time? And that's how you can kind of improve and try to set a PR with every race. The one thing that it doesn't do, though, it goes by miles per hour on the bike instead of power or heart rate. So you kind of have to remember what you did in training to pick an average speed for the race. But ideally, you're sticking with your heart rate, right? Because heart rate and RPMs. So, it's not perfect, but it will give you a pretty good estimation. And most of the time, believe it or not, you'll usually go a little faster than if you're going to be super conservative. So some of my athletes will give me 2. They'll give me 1 TriCalc that's like true reality and maybe a little conservative, and then they'll give me a second one like best race ever, perfect conditions, I did everything right. So it's like a dream race, and then like kind of more like realistic race, and you never know, right? Usually it ends up within 30 seconds to a minute of what we predict, though, which is pretty cool. Okay, so the Saturday before the race, I'm going to touch a little bit on the week leading up to the race. Since you do this on Monday, get a massage that week, have a little bit of a, lighter week in stress, hopefully get your 8 hours of sleep a night, and just make sure you're ready. Like check your tires for the possibility of getting a flat tire, make sure your bike is in working order, lube the gears so there's not a lot of resistance on the chain. Maybe even give your bike a bath or go drop it off at the bike shop to get a tune-up, right? So you've trained, the last couple of weeks, you might as well give it all you can on race day, and don't let a mechanical on the bike be the issue, right? Okay, so Saturday before the race, you know, you're gonna want to pick up your race packet. Sometimes you can pick up your race packet the week leading up to the race, like maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But in this case, they're only having packet pickup on Saturday. But on Saturday morning, I do recommend sleeping as much as you can because Saturday night, most likely, you're not going to sleep that much. And that's totally fine. It's totally normal. You can still have a great race. But you're going to be it's going to be one of those situations you might want to get to bed early, but then, you wake up at 11, you're like, is it race time? Oh no, I have 5 more hours to sleep, right? So that's totally normal. You can still have a great race, but just try to get everything done on Saturday so that you can chill the rest of the afternoon, maybe watch a movie, get your mind off things. And if you have everything done by Saturday morning or Saturday by 1 or 2, you have the rest of the afternoon to just chill, right? So practice your tried and true breakfast a couple times during the week leading up to the race and definitely on the Saturday before, but don't have as many calories because you're not really working that much on Saturday. You're just going to run through a shorter version of the race, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in race order, okay? So you don't have to swim first, then bike, then run. Like say you're at home and you want to just get your run over with, and then you're going to jump on the bike, and then later on you're going to head to the pool for a little warm up. It doesn't have to be in order, but you do want to include some race pace efforts, which I call ORPs, over race pace efforts. And what I mean by that is it just kind of reminds you what's going to happen on race day. You want to feel a little bit of intensity on the Saturday before the race and not be super slow and conservative, because whether you want to or not, you're going to push yourself during the race, right? The race momentum happens, and you just don't want it to be that you haven't done a lot of intensity all week and then it's all about, Sunday race day. Saturday is about including a couple pickups in the swim, in the bike, and in the run, so that you can kind of mentally and physically prepare for what's going to happen the next day. And you also might think, oh, wow, I went really hard during my warm-up or during my warm-up on Saturday, and it just felt too unsustainable. So you know what? I'm going to be a little more conservative on the bike tomorrow rather than holding 19 miles per hour like I thought. I think I'm going to hold back and maybe do 18. Just because of my warm up today, I just don't feel like I'm ready to hold that higher RPM. That higher mile per hour. So that's where the day before workout can really help. Friday before the race, I usually recommend taking the whole day off, just because it's a lot. Believe it or not, like it's not the stress of the race itself. It's a very short race. It's the mental prep, right? It's the mental stress of, you feel it, right? So you're like exhausted a little bit because of all the mental work, and that's why eating, healthy the whole week leading up to the race is so important, and avoiding the junk food, because you just want your brain to be working as much as possible as well. Okay, so this is my recommendation for the day before: dynamic stretch and warm up after a good sleep. Do the swim. If you can, ideally you're at the race venue, right? That's like the perfect situation, but that's not always possible. You will be, I highly recommend tomorrow on Sunday morning, swimming at the race site, okay, before the race starts. So don't worry if you can't get to the race site before. If you're local, or if you're on vacation and you're going to do the race and you're staying at the host hotel, take advantage of being able to swim on the actual race course. You want to see the conditions, how deep it is, the visibility, the temperature, sea life, meaning, is it like rocky on the bottom, or is it like, seaweedy? So you want to be mentally prepared for all that stuff, so it's not a surprise the next day. A lot of times the race director will have the buoys out the day before, so you can kind of get a lay of the map of how the swim is going to go. But if you don't have that, again, check out the race packet. They should have a map, hopefully, or on the race website, you should be able to check out all the details. So get your swim in. Doesn't have to be long. 15 minutes would probably be my minimum to warm up, because you want to take the first 5 minutes minimum to, mixed strokes, then dial in your freestyle, and then again, maybe 4 times 1 minute an ORP over race pace sprint, where you're really going harder, maybe even harder than your actual race plan, just to get the heart rate up and see how well you recover. And it really helps get the butterflies, working. When you get your heart rate up, you kind of remember, oh yeah, I've been doing this the last couple weeks in a row, and I'm going to be okay on race day. I know I am, right? So practicing those race scenarios the day before can really help. So transition 1, don't worry about the day before, right? Who cares? You don't really need to be working on your transitions the day before. Hopefully you've trained that like we did a couple weeks ago, or actually last weekend. So this, the warm-up transition, no need to rush it. Save the race for the race and use Saturday as just kind of a slow walkthrough of everything. You don't need to feel stressed on Saturday, okay? So, think about it in your head, how you're gonna set up your transition area and maybe run through it in your mind, but you don't really have to do it, okay? And then the bike, I recommend 20 to 40 minutes. It depends on your fitness. So if you never rode more than an hour and a half for your long rides, I would stick to a shorter warm up, right? If you've been riding 3 hours every weekend, you can go with a 40-minute ride on Saturday, okay? But again, you wanna keep your RPMs high, give your body a chance to warm up, and then include a couple of pickups, right? You can do some spin ups, some shift ups. I have good bike drills on the YouTube video on my YouTube channel for bike drills. I like the bike drills because they get you warmed up super fast. So even race morning, I will get on my bike and I'll go do my bike drills because I like to get really warmed up. And if it's your first triathlon, don't worry about getting on your bike, but just at least make sure it's in working order. The gears are shifting, the brakes aren't rubbing, and you're not, your tires are good, okay? Don't have to do a bike warm up the morning of the race, but I do recommend it the day before, and just make sure everything's in working order. And then if something is up with your bike, guess what? You have time to take it to the bike store to get it fixed, right? So again, transition 2, don't really have to go through it, but you want to think about what you're going to do on race day so that you can kind of dial it in a little bit better. And then the run, keep it short, 15 to 20 minutes. Again, include those ORPs, right? And you want to think about, okay, this is how it's going to feel tomorrow. I'm going to probably feel a little bit heavier. It's the end of the race. I've been pushing harder than maybe I have before. But, visualize that positive outcome, right? For everything, for the swim, the bike, and the run. And by doing it physically the day before, it really helps anchor it in your body, okay? So I recommend finishing with a light stretch, maybe a little foam roll, and then visualize the entire race start to finish in your mind. And think about all the details. If it's gonna be hot, right? You're gonna be sweaty. You're gonna be maybe a little dehydrated, right? How are you gonna keep your body temperature down? Making sure you have your hydration with you all the rest of Saturday, and of course, during the race, Sunday. You'll be triggered to think of things that maybe you haven't thought of by doing the warm up on Saturday, okay? So imagine that perfect race, meaning in a positive way. So a lot of my newbies will be like, well, they send me the race plan and it looks awesome. And the first thing it says, I hope I don't drown on the swim. So that's really not a positive way to look at it, right? So you would want to say, swim freestyle as much as possible and switch to breaststroke as needed for recovery or to sight, right? So that would be a more positive way of putting or imagining your your swim going. And just try to keep it in the positive, because what you tell yourself is true, right? So if you believe you can do it and you're gonna swim the whole time, then you're more likely gonna swim the whole race. We went over last week what could happen if you start too fast or if you have a panic attack in the swim. But just remember, the #1 tip for that is get a warm up in. So if you warm up on Sunday morning, you're a lot less likely to have a panic attack or have any kind of an issue during the swim portion of the race. Check your race start times, pick up your packet, right? The day before the race. And then plan out the rest of your day, right? A couple of tips I like to do for the Saturday before the race is wear compression socks the rest of the day, especially if I have to be up on my feet. I mean, you guys have families, you got stuff to do. But taking that extra step of wearing compression socks if you're running around the rest of the day can just help your legs feel a lot better for race day the next day. That's really true for long course racing. On Saturday before the race, have your lunch be the biggest meal of the day instead of like having a huge dinner. And guess what? This is a sprint triathlon or Olympic. You do not need to carbo load, okay? You can eat the same amount and the same ratio of fat, protein, and carbs. There's no need for that giant bowl of pasta that is just gonna make you feel bloated and heavy and maybe cause issues in your bowels the next day. So we really don't wanna have that situation set up. That's like old school, where you had to eat tons of carbs. And then the distance of the race doesn't really require it. You have 2,500 calories in your muscles stored as glycogen right now, every one of you. and you have over 80,000, 40 to 80,000, depending on your weight and how much muscle mass you have, of fat in your body right now. You don't need to carbo load. Just have a normal amount of carbohydrates, meaning like a sweet potato. So my tried and true race breakfast or lunch is usually some baked chicken or grilled chicken and a half a sweet potato with butter or almond butter in it, and then some cooked broccoli, right? So that's kind of my go-to. And if I'm traveling, I'll even make that, put it in a Tupperware and take it with me, and then I'll have a smaller version of the same thing for dinner, just to keep it simple. You know, I've had athletes that go out to restaurants, you know, the day before the race, and they end up getting something and it's got a little taint to it, and guess what? They get food poisoning and they have a bad result. So the cleaner you can eat the day before the race is the better, right? Get all your stuff organized after you have your lunch, you know, put everything by the door, and then, you know, kind of take a break. Get to bed as early as possible. You talked about this already, because you most likely won't get as much sleep as you want to just because you're excited. And, you know, there is the whole thing about alcohol, like, oh, relaxing on a Saturday night, you know, have a drink. But honestly, it's only going to make your body have to work harder the next day. So I say avoid alcohol and save it for after the race, right? Give that to be your reward the next day. Okay, so race morning, wake up with enough time to eat your tried and true breakfast, your coffee, go to the bathroom a few times, and get to the race site within an hour and a half. Like, I don't really like you to get there after an hour before your race time, because it's just really not enough time to get everything set up. You don't want to be running around like worried that you can't fit everything in. And like I said, I do really recommend that warm up. So for you to be able to do a warm up, you need to give yourself an hour and a half to get there, to be there and on race site for an hour and a half. So it's totally normal to go to the bathroom a few times or extra, because your body's getting ready for battle. It's really like that. And when you're in the middle of battle or you're in the middle of the race, you'll see that you don't even have to go to the bathroom, because your body's already done all the elimination in preparation. So that's normal. Don't think it's not normal. Body marking. So you can body mark yourself, or if you're not sure about doing it the right way, you can always ask the people as you go into the transition area. They'll usually have a Sharpie that you can put on it. But also make sure it doesn't get on your kit. If you have a nice kit, it can kind of get on there, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to get it off. Your timing chip. So they should give you this in your packet. When you go pick up your race packet, you should have your timing chip in there and all your race numbers. We talked about all the race numbers last week, but that's what you should do on Saturday, is put all your race numbers on, like your race number on your bike, your race number on your helmet, and put your run number on the run belt. Okay. And then the timing chip, I like to make sure I don't forget it. If they give it to me the night before, put it by my toothbrush. And then if they don't give it to you the night before, they'll usually give it to you at race site. Just make sure you get it before you start your race, because that's how you track your time. And always remember to use your Garmin, right? So there have been many times where the chip just doesn't work. I mean, there's could be 1,000 people at some of the races, and sometimes one of the chips just doesn't work. And if you have your results, the race director will totally take them. They're right there. So if you keep track of your own stuff, it's always a backup. So I highly recommend, using your Garmin, set it up on Triathlon, and include the transitions. And all you have to do is push start and then hit lap for every portion of the race, just like you would in training. And there are times when you mess it up. So you hit lap too many times, and maybe you're in T2 and it says you're already on the run. In that case, I would just stop the watch and then restart it on the run mode. So at least you capture your run. Okay, so you've got your transition spot, your rack on your race rack based on your number. So if you're 201, you're going to be on the race number between 200 and 210. And as soon as you get there, I would just warm up your bike first, okay? So it's up to you as far as if you're going to do the bike or not. As your first race, I don't really recommend it. So go ahead and just get into transition, rack your bike, and go put your running shoes on, okay? Put your run shoes on and take a look around. See how the transition area is laid out. Look where the swim in is, the bike out is, the bike in is, and where the run out is. Because if you orient yourself, you're going to be much less confused and disoriented as you come out of the swim. Because believe it or not, you can kind of get turned around, okay? So it's super important to see where everything's going to happen, and even run through the finish line so you know where it is. I mean, funny story, I was at a race that I had done many times, Miami Man, and they changed the finish line layout. So instead of coming around one way, they made you come around the other way. And I didn't notice that. And I didn't, prep that. I didn't really take a look at the finish line when I was warming up. And I went the old way. And, it took me a little while to figure it out. I was by myself. I was like, where is everybody? And so I was like, something's wrong. And so I made a U-turn. I went back. And they're like, oh, they changed it. You have to go this way now. And like, it cost me. Like, I think I was like 3rd place and I got 7th place, so I was so bummed out, right? But, that's my fault, right? It's up to you to know the race course and all the details. So after you've done your run warm-up, set up your bike, make sure everything's in working order, leave your bike in an easy gear. Then go ahead and set up your transition in order of use. Remember, so you always want to put your bike shoes first, your run shoes second. If you have your gel, tape it on the top tube, right? Really get organized there in your transition and look at it and say, okay, is this everything I'm gonna need? You have your visor, you have your running shoes, you have your run belt, walk through it in your mind that you got everything you need. And after that, you wanna grab your goggles and your swim cap and head to the water, right? You're done. They usually make you get out of the transition. Like if the race starts at 7, usually by 6:45 or even 6:30, they make you leave, right? I mean, they're really not too strict about it, but they do want everybody out of there as much as possible, like 15 minutes before the race starts. So that gives you an opportunity to head to the beach. I would bring a disposable water bottle because they're going to have garbage cans on the beach. So you can have maybe one more sip of water. And then that would be when you would have your last gel or your first gel. Or a banana if you want to eat real food, because you want to top off your glycogen stores. Believe it or not, your breakfast will kind of wear off pretty quickly just because you're using so much glycogen in your brain with thinking and everything like that. So I always recommend that little extra bump of carbohydrate, 20 minutes before the race. And then go ahead and get your swim warm up in. So a lot of athletes, they'll pinky promise that they get their swim warm up in, and during the first race they come to me and they're like, oh man, I had a panic attack, it happened, I even got my warm up in. And I said, how long was it? 2 minutes. Okay, well, 2 minutes is not long enough, okay? You need to be in the water swimming for a minimum of 10 minutes, okay? I guarantee 100% success. If you swim 10 minutes before your swim rate, before your triathlon, you will not have any issues in your swim. You've got to get your body in the motion. Got to get your heart rate up a couple times. You got to recover from that. Heart rate up, recover. Kick really hard, pull really hard. Practice sighting. See the lay of the workout. The only time I don't recommend getting in the water is if it's too cold. Okay, and guess what? It's going to be 90 degrees. So for us, we have no excuses. Okay, so you got to get that swim warm up in. Include those ORPs. And check out all the conditions if you didn't do it the day before. You want to be ready when the gun goes off and get back to shore. I don't really, maybe take a little sip of water. Don't try to drink anymore because it can make you have to go to the bathroom during the race. But 20 minutes before, when you have that gel, no more drinking. And then just wait for your swim start, right? So your wave start, you're going to have matching swim cap colors. So make sure that you're starting with the right group, and then seed yourself accordingly, right? So if you're a strong swimmer, you can start in the front, in the middle, and kind of get out front, right, before everybody else. If you're not and you're new, hold back a little bit. Maybe get 3 or 4 people back or off to the right or off to the left so you don't get stuck in the middle, and kind of take your time. You've already warmed up. Start swimming as soon as possible. Please don't be the person that's walking in neck-deep water because they're not going to swim. It's way easier to actually swim in the swim rather than walk. And then start doing your thing. Swim, practice your mantra, bubble, bubble, breathe, or reach for the buoy. Reach for the buoy. And remember to sight, right? Look up every 5 to 10 strokes and look where you're going and correct your body position, okay? So swim, swim, swim. If you feel good, pick it up towards the end. Start to push a little harder. If you drafting on the swim is legal. I highly recommend following some toes if you can. And then remember to swim until 2 hands touch the bottom. Okay, try to resist the urge of, oh, I can see the bottom, I'm just gonna stand up, because that's way more work than if you swim all the way to shore. Okay, then pop up, You can meaning lift your ankles up and kind of run out of the water, or walk out of the water. Take your time, but watch your footing. You might be a little dizzy. I always recommend kicking a little harder the last 100 yards just to get some more blood up into your brain. So in case you feel a little dizzy, that'll help. And then get your swim cap and your goggles off, because it's going to be hot in this case. Now, if it's cold, you would leave it on, right? But take it off if it's hot, and then run with those things in your hand to your transition area. There's usually an aid station there, meaning a water. Go ahead and grab a water, rinse your face if it's salt, if you're in salt water. Dump it on your head and maybe take a swish of water in your mouth, just to kind of get, the swim's over, rinse it off, and now you're focused on the bike. Okay, so remember to find your transition spot. Maybe you counted you're 10 racks in on the right. I will sometimes use a marker for the end of my transition racks, like an old swim cap. I'll put a brightly colored old swim cap. So, I know where I am, and I know I'm like a little bit down, but when I just see my swim cap, hanging on the end of the swim rack or the transition rack, I'm like, oh, I just run right for it, right? So it just takes that amount of thinking out. So I get to my bike, first thing I do, put my swim stuff down, put my helmet, right? Sunglasses on, or helmet if you have a visor, but just make sure that thing is buckled, and then bike shoes on and go, right? So no need to rush so much that you're like missing anything. Take your time, but believe it or not, you can usually get this done with less than a minute, 2 minutes at the most. And then walk or run with your bike to the mountain line, right? Get on the bike safely. Your bike is in an easy gear, and spin for a couple seconds. Get your legs underneath you. Take a deep breath, settle in, stay on the right-hand side. If people want to pass you, they can. And then start to build the pace, right? Grab gears as you can, but keep your RPMs the entire bike ride between 85 and 95 RPMs. No drafting, right? Cannot sit behind another cyclist like you can in the water. So if you're coming up on someone, just stay on your left, pass them safely. And the pacing for the bike, you want to be in zone 3, 4, or 5, depending on your ability, okay? So if this is your first race, I would be closer to the 3, 4 zone, about 75 to 85% effort. Whereas if you're more experienced in a sprint try, you should be able to push for zone 4 and zone 5 if you're in shape, okay? So, err on the side of less is more on the bike if you're not sure, because you always want to be able to run off the bike if you're a strong runner, and you can totally waste yourself on the bike and not be able to run if you push too hard, okay? So more experience, harder effort, less experience, less effort. And then the last 100 yards, spin your gears a little faster to accelerate, get some blood, again, pumping back up to your brain so that you're ready to run off the bike. I also recommend one gel on the bike about at the halfway point. And you can just have water or an electrolyte drink or even a carb drink in your water bottle, and drink every 10 minutes. You want to take a really good sip so that you stay hydrated. Dismount safely at the dismount line, and then head to your transition spot, and then rack your bike safely, helmet off, right? Grab your visor, run shoes on, grab your visor, race belt, and put those on as you're going. As long as your run shoes on, you're good to go, right? So start a little bit slowly. Make sure you run out the run out area, right? So start a little slowly, get your breath underneath you, try to bring your heart rate down, and then maybe grab that last sip of water and be on your way. Negative split, start slower and finish stronger. Quick, light feet are always better than big, long strides. Big, long strides can actually make your heart rate go up higher. And then the last 200 yards, you see the finish line up ahead, you hear the crowd, go ahead and give it your all, right? It's okay to take walk breaks. It's okay, but the idea is to pace well enough that you actually cross the finish line and say, especially if you're a first race, I could have done more. I know I have more in me, right? Because that usually makes you, want to do the next race, right? So thank the volunteers, and then, be super proud of yourself. Like, this is only like less than 1% of the population are triathletes, right? So, and in this time right now, like, I feel like it's so awesome that we're having the opportunity to get to race. Like, I'm so excited. So congratulations for stepping out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself for something you've never done before, and then celebrate, right? Celebrate yourself, hang out. There's usually fun race rewards after. There's usually post-race nutrition, choose wisely. and then reward yourself with something good, like pizza or something like that, right? All right, cool. Do you have any questions, Monica, since you're the only one on? Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me? I don't know if I'm on mute or not.
Yeah, no, you're unmuted.
Okay. One of the questions was, and I know you should never try something new on race day, but somehow I'm having issues with the mask that I bought.
Okay.
It's steaming up a lot. It's fogging up a lot. Although I bought an anti-fogger and I put it on there, I don't know if I damaged it by using an anti-fogger that I use for my diving mask.
Yeah.
So I bought the Roca ones, the ones that you have, but I only got those yesterday, and I haven't really tried them.
Well, can you get in your pool today and practice?
I could try. But because I wanted to take a second pair just in case.
100%. You always want to take 2 pairs to the race. Yeah, for sure. So I would get in your pool today and practice them. And then are you going to be able to do open water tomorrow? Or are you going to wait till Sunday morning?
No, I think I'm going to wait. Well, I don't know. Let me see what time I get tomorrow to the site.
Okay.
And I do want tomorrow, after I get my packet before going to the hotel, I really want to go to the race site and kind of see like, where everything lies, because on the map they have the swim course and the biking course, but they don't show where the transition is.
Okay.
So I don't know what the distance is from the swimming to the transition. It's probably closer to the street. Yeah. Where you have to run out and run and bike out and bike back. So I just want to see where that is.
Yeah. So who knows? They might have the transition closer to the water. Or they might have it closer to the street. But yeah, so definitely worth your time to go out there because you'll sleep much better. The more questions you have answered about what's going to happen on Sunday, the better you're going to sleep on Saturday night. And then I would go ahead and take your goggles, practice with them today, and then take them with you tomorrow to the race site. And, don't be intimidated if it's safe to go ahead and do a little warm up there. And then for sure, Sunday morning. But bring both just in case. Bring your old ones just in case. And like I said, I always have 2 pairs and even like an extra pair just in case that, you want to have I just checked the weather where it's going to be awesome. It's like 3 to 4 miles an hour wind. It's only 10% chance of rain.
Oh, really? Because yesterday when I checked, it was like 60% chance.
No, it moved.
Oh,
so it's
good. I was concerned. I'm like, holy crap.
Right. It's Florida. Like, it's always changing. Like this morning, like we had to cancel class this morning, but like, by an hour later, it's a gorgeous day, right? So, worst case scenario, maybe there's a shower, but they're going to postpone the race, to keep everybody safe. But most likely, it's 100% going to happen. Like, we're not going to have a cancellation or anything like that. Okay, cool. So that was a good question about the goggles. But just, yes, honestly, what's the brand that you have?
I forgot. It's just like the whole
ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, like those are known to leak after a certain period of time. For whatever reason, they just don't stay on your face as much as possible. That's why I love the Rocas. Especially the big ones for the open water, because you can just see like 360. You're not panicky because it's like too small or too tight on your eyes.
Right.
You're gonna love.
What happened with the first ones I bought? They were just way too tight, and I swear to you, I had raccoon eyes till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. It was horrible.
Yeah. So I love my Roca ones, and how I get around like the lightness or the darkness, they're like light blue. So even when it's bright, I can wear them. Yeah. So they're kind of a good cross brand color, so that you can wear them even when it's bright or when it's a little cloudy.
Yeah, that's I think it's called the cobalt blue. That's what I got.
Yeah, the cobalt blue, exactly. And then I did send you this. This is just about pacing, more about pacing. You can read the article, and there's tons of stuff. I actually just finished an open water video, so I'm gonna send that out to you guys tomorrow, just to kind of give you a little reminder about what to focus on. It's really important to remember what you're doing, right? You're swimming. Swim during the swim, and then once it's over, don't think about it anymore. Then you're on the bike, focus on the bike. When it's over, and then the run, right? So sometimes you get caught. You're like, oh my God, that was the worst swim ever. Oh my God. And you're like, wait, I'm biking now. Let me focus on the bike, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, cool. Do you have any other questions?
Gosh, I had one more. No, Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, text me. You know, we have the group chat. I'm gonna send this recording to you so you can listen to it again. And then if I don't know if you listened to last week's recording again, that's something just to, you know, play it over in your mind. And then text me when you're gonna head to the race to pick up your packet. I'm gonna be up there. I'm going up there today actually, and then I'm gonna go to the shop to pick up packets, and then I might head over to the race site too. So maybe we can meet up.
Question. I had one question. I only have one. Those cartridges for the tires.
Okay.
I mean, I've never used them. I did see the video that you guys did, the YouTube one. I looked through it twice, and I did one of those clinics that they had at the Mac Cycle.
Good.
For the front tire, and I tried it. When I tried it, I had a hard time putting it back in my tire because it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
But the CO2 cartridges, I've never used those, so it's
okay.
I don't.
So you only have one
for a YouTube video to see if they show one. I don't know.
So what I would do is when you're at the bike store tomorrow picking up your packet, I would get a couple more and go ahead and deflate your tire and blow it back up. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and blow it back up with the CO2 just so you can see how it's done instead of relying on, you know, last minute scenario. But honestly, like if your tires are in good shape, you know, there's a choice. You could choose not to bring your flat tire kit on the race. So it's one of those things. I mean, honestly, the likelihood of you getting a flat is really, really small. And that being said, I've said this to my group, and then someone got a flat, right?
Don't jinx it.
But it was just one of those things. Jason is his name. Jason, he got 3 flats in 3 races. That's never happened.
Oh, wow.
In the history of time. I'm like, okay, the hex is over. Like, let's move on. But never happened.
You didn't jinx me.
No. It's not going to happen. Just look at your wheel right now. Look at your tire. And if there's any gashes, you might want to consider changing the tire, right?
No, I mean, last weekend after we finished the open water, I cleaned my bike. I cleaned my chain. I oiled it. So it's good to go.
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
My standards, you know.
It's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Yeah, and then practice that visualization and imagine. Don't just visualize. Like, think about you're going to be salty. You're going to be sweaty. Think about the emotion of it. Think about how good it feels to be out there using your body and kind of tap into all your emotions. And you're going to have a great day. You've done the work. I've seen you train. You're good to go. We practiced our transitions last weekend. You're totally ready, and I'm super excited. You're going to have a great day.
I know I'm going to take my food from here for the morning because I know that you don't like oatmeals, but it's kind of like what has worked for me. I did try, actually, one of the trainings I did try egg, but I didn't boil it. I did a scrambled, which kind of helped me. It wasn't bad, actually. It sat well because, as I told you, when I've tried the hard-boiled egg, but I keep on like repeating it the whole time.
Yeah, so scrambled can help it break down a little bit more. That's totally fine too. I don't know where you're staying. If you can cook something.
No, I'm just gonna take my oatmeal.
Okay, so just take your oatmeal. That's fine.
I'll just prepare it with my peanut butter or almond butter and coconut, and I'll do all that, and I'll just take it with me, and I'll just eat it there cold because it's, you know, you can.
Yeah, that's fine. That sounds like a plan. And then make sure you just have good quality lunch tomorrow. You know, you make sure you have enough calories. Because believe it or not, you do burn a lot of calories just because you're thinking of everything. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I've been burning a lot of calories, girl, with all this training. I am hungry all the time. I wake up in the morning and I'm famished.
What about your aminos? You got to be taking your aminos.
I do. Well, I do take aminos after I train. It's like a shake.
Go ahead and take, if you're really, really hungry, you can take them before bed or first thing in the morning. And it will help you so much because it's like 20 calories. It's 20 grams of protein with no calories. So it really just helps you recover, especially sleep. So I'll take mine during the day, during training, you know, after training. And then if I feel like, you know what, I'm still hungry, but I don't want to go have a big snack before I go to bed, I'll just take 10 right before I go to bed.
But I don't have the ones that you have. What I have is like a powder. It's a protein powder that it's for after. It's called Recover. And it has like a time release powder, and it has amino acids in there too. So
not as good. So I'm reading Dr. Minkoff's book, and unless it has the 8 essential amino acids, it's just carbohydrate. It actually doesn't even turn into protein in your body. unless you've been eating the other missing aminos that it needs to make a complete protein. So I'll bring you, you got a sample bottle, did you?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna bring one for you tomorrow. Okay, so make sure you get it from me. But yeah, it's a game changer. The perfect aminos are like night and day difference. And there's no extra fillers, there's no other calories from anything else. It's just to go into your body and repair. So it's a huge difference.
And where are you staying?
Oh, my mom lives there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll be close by. Yeah, so text me tomorrow though. Let's touch base and text me in the morning, and then maybe we can meet up at the race site. Cause it's only between 1 and 4, right? Is the packet pickup?
12 and 4, yeah.
12 and 4, yeah. So yeah.
And then I'm also taking a bottle of my because they say you need to take your water bottle for the run.
Yes, you have to take your own. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not going to be an aid station, I don't think.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. Regarding the sea salt that you say you put sea salt, and I've been putting sea salt, but I don't know how much sea salt I really should put into the bottles.
So you shouldn't taste salt. So it's literally like 10 granules of sea salt in like every glass of water like that. 10
granules?
Like just a pinch.
A pinch, okay.
That's it. So I have other people, they're like, oh, my water is so salty. No, you should not be drinking salt water.
No, I haven't, but I didn't know if it was, my water hasn't tasted like salt, but
that's fine.
I don't know if it's enough or not.
Yeah, you just want to get a good pinch, you know, and then you'll see it dissolves in there. As long you're not cramping or anything, right?
No, but what I do notice, not in the bike or in the run, but I have noticed that my foot sometimes, my toe sometimes cramps in this when I come on the back swim, when we've done like the long, you know, there and back, like towards the end. And I've been taking my magnesium. I did buy it. So I've been taking my magnesium every night.
Okay, good.
Tablets.
It could be that you just need a little more, or you can get some topical magnesium, because it does mean that either your calves are just super tight, so you need to stretch your calves.
Toes. My toes.
But where do the toes attach?
Right.
So the toes are attached here, and then your calves attach here under the foot. So yeah, you need to stretch your calves down and do that 3-minute stretch, maybe both today and tomorrow, and then, you know, massage your feet out. And I would definitely maybe double up the magnesium tonight and tomorrow, just to like kind of prevent that from happening during the race.
But then I'm afraid that I'm going to be going to the bathroom too much.
So that's where the topical really helps, because it doesn't make you do that. It's transdermal, and it gets into the bloodstream through your skin.
Where do I
get it? Online. I don't know if you're going to get it in time. It's called Ancient Minerals on Amazon, but Ancient Minerals magnesium lotion.
Okay.
Right. I actually have some, so if you text me in the morning, I'll bring it. I'm going to put it out for you. But I have a whole extra bottle, so.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
I think I sent you the new one, the updated.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. You're ready. You're ready.
We'll see. I mean, I had a more conservative one, so I have that one there.
Okay.
And I have this one that's kind of like, okay.
Awesome.
So that's out there.
Okay, cool. I love it. The most important thing is to have fun.
Have fun, exactly.
All right, Monica.
I'm even taking my own cheerleaders, my girlfriends. They always come with me to every single race.
That's so nice.
I know. They always do all my half marathons and marathons. They've always been there. And I told them, hey, I might be doing this. She goes, I'm in. We're coming.
Yay. Okay, well, I'm going to have my tent. So they'll have a place to hang out. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome, Monica. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Stop record.
I don't have control of my mouse. Because you have